Welcome back to Tech Garage, presented by RockAuto.com. Well, this week's Garage Ed is all about the cam sensor. And boy, let me tell you, the cam sensor has changed engine performance forever. More about that a little bit later. Let's actually look at the cam sensor. What is it? What does it do? Well, here it is. It's actually looking at the position of the cam. Why do we want to know the position of the cam? Well, we can tell exactly where it's firing, when it's firing, and what valves open at what time. That's pretty cool. And I could fire it up for you. Down here, you have the crank position sensor, and up here's the cam position sensor. You have a mechanical link with the timing chain that's going to run it. So when I fire it up, my crankshaft's down there. He's reading what's going on with the crank, where it's at, but more importantly, my cam sensor knows what cylinder's where and what valve is where by all these little indentations and teeth. It can be a Hall effect or it could be a magnetic sensor. We'll talk about that next week with crank position sensors. Now, what makes it such a game changer? Well, we can do misfire detection. That's pretty cool. My crankshaft is spinning around down here, and every time I get a pulse, boom, a fire, pulse, you get a little bit of a pickup there as it goes. Now, if it's picking up, and not picking up for a while, well, that's a slowdown in the crank. So what does the computer do? Looks up at the cam, says, hey, where are we? What cylinder? What's going on? Well, there's your PO 301s, 302s, 303s, exactly what's going on. Then it uses sequential fuel injection. We couldn't do that before either. We had to do multi-port injection. Now, if I know what cylinder needs the fire and the fuel, well, I can deliver it directly. That's the job of a cam sensor. And even better yet, variable valve timing, man, VVT. Here on our engine, you can see it right here. This is pretty cool. I can take the cam, I know the position of the cams, I can advance them and I can retard them, and I can look and see what's going on. And you can see it right here. I actually have the cam position sensor right here. If I pull this off, this is pretty cool. I'll set this over here, and then right here, the cam position sensor is looking down at these marks, so he knows exactly where this camshaft is. I could look at a V8, I could look at a 4-cylinder, I can look at 2 or 4 of them, but I know exactly where the cam position is. But you know what? It's not going to use all this cool technology if the cam sensor is not working. That's why Brian's checking one out.
Okay, with everything out of the way here, I'm removing one of the 2 camshaft position sensors. Essentially, what we're going to do is check the guts inside of it, the windings, the wiring, look for resistance, look for loss of signal and voltage inside the thing, which would mean something's broken inside and it's got to be replaced. Be careful with the harness. These crack. This is tough conditions up here. Just work the sensor up out gently, and I'll give you a good look inside here. There's 3 posts, 3 pins. You can see on the graphic here, we're going to test it 3 different ways. You're going to go pin 1 to pin 2. Look for infinity or 0. You're going to go from pin 1 to pin 3. Then you're going to do pin 2 to pin 3, and that ultimately will tell you the voltage you're sending inbound. Is it getting lost or is it coming back through? And that tells you the health of this really important sensor. What's it do? Well, you saw how it works. This is the great enabler. The computer needs to know where the valves are in relationship to the camshaft to know when to send spark and when to send that fuel charge. And these little guys have a big job in that equation.